Good morning, listeners.
Good morning,
Yes,
Ammar.
gosh. Maitri, if you're listening, you will have to edit the show so that it doesn't place the so it doesn't play the repeat. Otherwise, it's disconcerting for our listeners. Good morning. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM.
Each week we'll try and bring you some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider community.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops. Whether you're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
Can help. We do help. Gosh. Um, uh, Sorry, I was just trying to juggle lots of things. Um, anyway, I was just about to start repeating what we talked about last week, and it felt like, as in, oh gosh, everyone's so knowledgeable, everyone's struggling, everyone's finding it hard. But then there's some brilliant things going on in the world as well, Jaff. Certainly from an ABC perspective, Elizabeth Abbott and the team and everyone else, hosted and facilitated a number of events. Yesterday's event as part of inclusion by default and breaking barriers was really well attended. It was brilliant,
Excellent.
is what it was. And then the Asian Pro Connect event on Wednesday was equally uh, quite a significant event hosted in the city centre. But more broadly speaking, what's going on, Jeff?
Um, well, first and foremost, I remember being in your lovely offices last week, Ammar, and the sun was shining. But yesterday, did you see the weather yesterday? I mean, it was
Oh,
sun, it was hailstones, it was raining, it was everything within like 2 hours. We experienced everything, and I don't recall having such changes to the weather as frequent as that. It was crazy.
Oh, it's mad. It's mad what's going on. I'm looking out now. It was sunny. It's not now, or it's changing. But there was hailstones and things
Yeah,
like that the day
like
before.
like not just little pieces. There was like big hailstone. It was crazy. So obviously we're in kind of mid-May, and you expect the weather to be a bit better than what it is, but we have to be prepared for all extremes, I guess. I think the weather is more volatile than what it's ever been before. Um, and I think it's probably as volatile as the world.
Yeah. Um,
Um, albeit, Amar, I think it's interesting, isn't it, how the Middle East and what happens over there seems to have a direct impact on our news stories and the feel good factor in our nation. And I'm just wondering if there's any ways of kind of having some kind of immunity towards that, and our country is should be more immune to what's going on in the world so that we can just not get impacted as much, and the media is not impacted as much, and people's minds and plans are not impacted as much, because I think all of this uncertainty does have a massive impact on what people do on a day-to-day basis.
yeah, it is. It's crazy. Um, the single biggest challenge in life is uncertainty, isn't it? Because if you know something bad is definitely going to happen, you then deal with it. Or if you know something good is going to happen, you can deal with it. Or if you know quite simply, it doesn't have to be good or bad, something's going to happen, you can deal with it. When you are absolutely unsure of whether something is going to happen or not, you can't deal with it.
Mm. Yes, absolutely.
Uh,
That's
and whilst we aren't, from a regulation perspective, um, able to really delve into politics, politicians run our world, don't we? So we didn't really touch upon the the um, challenges of last week uh, and the general elections and elections. Um, but there has been a bit of a change, and I was looking at some of the sentiment, and in particular, one post caught my attention, which was, um, "Are we going to have to leave this country, mummy?" And someone had put a post of their child
mm.
and a conversation their child had had. And it went along the lines of, "Are we going to have to leave this country? Or granddad and grandma are going to have to leave this country?" Um, and this particular individual who wears a hijab, covers her head, doesn't wear a burqa, but covers her head, uh, was trying to comprehend how to respond to that
Mm.
in a way which doesn't give her daughter nightmares, but whilst has a legitimate, reasonable conversation. And it's an interesting statement, isn't it, Jack?
Um, I mean, yes, and but I think I've heard some noises of people saying, "Oh well, if reform go in, they're going to change all the immigration rules and policies," and there is very subtle concerns. But for me, as an individual, I mean, if the world comes to a situation, or the UK governance comes to a position where people that are settled, born in the UK, they have to be worried about getting booted out of the UK. I think the world would be in a very precarious place, and and I would have thought that for international law, UK law, and all of those other laws and good governance would never allow something like that to happen. So, so I think at the end of the day, Britain is our home. We're British, and Britain is great because it's Great Britain because of the way over the years it's become multicultural. I mean, there's a lot of things that you and I, and especially myself, I don't agree about in terms of immigration and ABC and E. There needs to be control, and you need to get the right profile of allow the right profile of people to come in to the UK because it's a privilege, and it needs to be recognized as such. And but generally, people that have been here, born here, the families, been here for 50, 60, 70 years, what are you going to do now just because of the color of the skin? Or because of their ethnicity or their religion, you're going to say, "Well, hold on, get out of the country." I mean, that would be absolutely outrageous. I think UK couldn't never make that statement and have respect as a global leading nation. How could that ever happen? That's my view. I mean, there's someone else might tell me otherwise, but
Uh, um, it is crazy though, and I was reflecting on the impact of Brexit,
mm,
Jack,
mm,
right? And in practice, what happened was a lot of Eastern European individuals who had supported and promoted our economy and wider industry
mm.
decided to leave, did they?
Well, I don't know if they decided to leave, but when the laws changed, obviously it made it very, very difficult for them to stay in the UK because obviously being part of the EU, they had that freedom to travel from one EU country to another EU country and be able to work there, and that just changed, and I think that was, I mean, Brexit was awful for the nation. It was just um, I don't think that's led to. Was it supposed to give us more independence as a nation and more control as a nation? Because I don't think those things have been achieved. So Brexit was from a business perspective. I mean, losing the Eastern Europeans that the country and hospitality especially really depended on, and they were a core part of that industry. It's caused all sorts of issues, and it's just not that industry. There were like in the building industry. There was they you know, and that's the whole thing about. I think the Eastern Europeans that came to the country, they were the ones that had that really strong work ethic, really came with hunger, wanting to better themselves, better their lives, and added value to our country as well. And yes, there were certain people that were coming and exploiting the systems and exploiting housing benefits and the all of those things which shouldn't have been allowed. But generally, there was a lot of good with being in the EU. And since Brexit, I think the country suffered, and is still suffering today.
Well, I mean, there's a huge impact. I mean, if I look at the history, right, of this country, Jeff, one of the most significant and beautiful payments is payments, paintings is at the Lang Art Gallery, right? There's a mural of Ponce Aelius, the emperor, and how Hadrian's Wall and everything else was built by people, Persians and Arabians and all of that. So this country, in every sense, from a historical perspective, whether it was the Saxons or the Normans or whatever it was, they've all been from other places and spaces. It just so happens that it actually then changed a little bit more in the 1900s, 20th century, where after the war, the country didn't have enough labor and it needed migrants and immigrants to come and help with the economy and turn it around. So the Commonwealth opened up and encouraged people to come.
Mm.
Right? So this country has been built and supported by ethnic people. Anyway, I mean, I don't want
Ammar,
this
but I think genuinely deep down, even if we managed to, I mean, I remember when we used to go to the British Curry Awards, and Nigel Farage used to be there, loving the company around his table, loving the people that were around, and he still had his views, but he would still love a curry. So I don't think actually deep down, I think there will be an appreciation in the most hardened members of Reform for what the ethnic minorities have done and the value they've added to this country. I think the general grievance is, and that's probably across the board, is the way that the rules have become so relaxed, and there's been so many people that have come in over the last 10 years without they haven't come through the right mediums, they haven't come with the right skill sets. You've got all of the you've got all of the hotels that are now being put up for asylum seekers and A, B, C, and D. And I think that is probably what the grievance is for most. And I think that there's a real big debate there on what UK's role should be. But I think, but when people are seeing people of a particular color from an ethnic minority, it's hard for them to differentiate which group has just arrived as asylum seekers or whatever routes that they've come into the country, and those that have been established here for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. And two people are walking down the street and of a particular color. Are you able to distinguish it just because of their dress, because of the swagger and A, B, C, and D? So I think there's like this real there's a lot of confusion that also exists in the minds of people, and I think this is being compounded with obviously reform and their views, and some people jump on that bandwagon, but I think deep down in their hearts, they're probably they're not racist, but they're just concerned about the direction of the country.
Yeah, and look, we understand there is an element of sentiment towards, sort of overwhelming our systems and
Mm.
services. I just think there's a bit of a disconnect, to be honest. There's a real, social media and media generally plays a huge part in um, changing people's views and perceptions and reinforcing, oh, and if they do this, and look, they're taking over our country and taking our jobs and they're taking over all of that. Anyway, I think it's a very challenging time, is what it is. But in reality,
Yeah,
it's actually a lack of funding and investment that's gone into public services that have deteriorated to such an extent. And arguably, according to some people, and obviously we need to remain impartial and diplomatic and all of that, but in some circles, the mismanagement of funding and public purses have genuinely impacted on the services that we get.
100% they have. I mean, it's the services that we get in line with the taxation and the changes to taxation. If you have a look at the taxation over the last 20 years, the amount of money that the Treasury has been generating in taxation from 20 years ago to today, it would be astronomical in terms of the percentages. Now, if they are blowing that money and that money is not going to good use, then we need to hold our politicians to account, and who is doing that, and even the councillors to account, who is doing that. I don't think enough of that is being done. Just one point, I was smirking to myself, and it's not really a laughing matter, but one of the candidates from Reform, right? Did you hear his comment? He was like saying, well, there's a lot of potholes on the roads and stuff. What we need to do, we need to melt the Nigerians and fill the potholes, and he actually won his he won his constituency, which I just couldn't. I mean, there's that outrageous comments like that, which is vile, and how people can come out with stuff like that and be a politician is just horrendous.
What was interesting, it was raised prior to the election and such like, and then he was elected and has then been suspended. But there's almost a curious, interesting, and the reason why this turned into such a big deal, Jalf, is because I was also watching Laura Koonsberg on Sunday morning, where Richard Tice, the deputy of Reform, was there, and she put some of these allegations to him, and he dismissed them.
Mm.
He was like, look, there's a process in place, but we are celebrating our win, and understandably, as in they've won sort of 1,900 odd seats and things like that. Anyway, we're going to have a special guest on the show in a minute. Lisa Darwin is going to be joining us. And you remember Lisa from the Fashion Ball, who kindly came on the show. Fashion Ball is happening next week. And this is some of the positive things that I'm referring to, right? Is Fashion Ball is happening next Thursday at the Gosforth Park. Obviously, you and I will be attending and supporting Lisa, and we're encouraging as many people as we can. So Lisa will be joining us in about 5 minutes or so, and yeah, we're keen. So let's talk about some of the positivity, and the government statistics suggest there was a 1% growth, is what there is. And actually, that was a message from Lisa, so we can continue with our show. until she joins around 10:45. But more broadly, Jaff, um, let me pull up and present some of this to us and our listeners. But in essence, there is some statistic positivity. I'm not convinced that translates into perception, real feeling. But more broadly speaking, there is. Can you see that? Yeah, wonderful. So this week's headlines, Jaff, the UK economy grows by 0.6% in quarter one. But Northeast businesses urged not to be complacent as global uncertainty continues to bite. The UK economy expanded by 0.6%. And it's really, really interesting. I feel as if it's contracted. Number two, Northeast.
I don't believe that figure, Ammar. I don't believe that figure. But anyway, go ahead. Let's go number two.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? That there was this growth. And it's not about you having to believe the figure. It's more as to how it's made up and measured. And actually, I don't dispute the figure. I'm just more interested in where we are right here, right now. Curiously, and it is about narrative and perception. So when I carry out a survey or someone surveys me, a number of factors play on my response to that survey, don't they? Including how I'm feeling, whether I'm having a good day, whether the sun's shining or not, whether I'm, sort of being kicked or fallen down, or all of those things. So there's a number of influences associated with surveys and data detail. But the critical element is, I agree with you. The certainly the start of this year has been challenging, and don't forget though, Jaff, the biggest economic shocks were introduced after the end of March. So whether that was rates, whether that was national insurance, whether it was all of those things with energy and then the wars and everything else. Crudely and statistically, we've probably seen 100% increase on overheads, haven't we?
Yeah. I mean, the increases have been absolutely horrendous. The reason why, for me, Ammar, just very quickly, why I don't believe in those figures, because I'm based in the cutting edge and right in the heart of the city centre, where you have retail, you have hospitality, you have just general people. If the city centre is buzzing, then you feel that the economy is alive. When literally the city centre is absolutely decimated and quite dead and no one around. And that's just not me saying it. When I'm speaking to suppliers, when I'm seeing with my own eyes and going through town, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? I think that's just a very, very, very worrying sign. And then you kind of begin to think, okay, what is going on? Why is the city centre not busy? Then you look at parking. You look at people they're just tightening their purse strings, because I think it's down to the uncertainty, because they don't know what's happening tomorrow. They want to keep money for a rainy day. That's what I feel. And they feel that, look, we just can't go out and spend and be free and enjoy, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, it's incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard.
It's going up. I mean, it's interesting. Maybe we're also a bit what's the word? We're because we're in hospitality. Maybe it's other sectors are growing, and it's not down to what I see visibly in terms of shops and retail and people. Is it other sectors such as technology that maybe is taking the country into the green as opposed to the red, and there's growth in exponential growth in particular sectors, Ammar, that is the reason for the growth, and maybe there's other areas such as hospitality, retail is going on a negative.
No, I mean, look, this is a broad base of um, of assessment. So it is without a doubt reflective of a number of different industries. Professional services have grown. There's been a number of um, sectors that, as you mentioned, technology, such like, um, but it can also just be a blip, right? It could very well be that, for example, if it's based on uh, uh, activity, as in people buying things, right, Jeff?
Hmm.
If as a business, all of a sudden, I know the price of everything is going to increase in April because of everything that's going on, I am potentially going to go out and buy as much as I can in March,
Yeah,
right? So all of a sudden, if people are buying more and people are reporting that there are more goods being bought and services, well, then all of a sudden it's going to mask the actual real economic position,
hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Because actually what you're doing is you're preparing for a negative period in advance. So so potentially there's aspects of that, and that's sensible business. And then there'll be other factors as well. I mean, we can get into the details, but the point is, I don't believe, and this is my belief, that it reflects explicitly where the economy really is. And it is crazy to see the level and depth of businesses that are truly suffering, um, and have gone into administration.
right. If you're the chancellor, then you must be aware of what's going on because you're sat there, to make decisions, and they know how the businesses are suffering, and I just can't fathom why they are allowing that to continue. And what is their end goal? What do they want? What do they want to achieve? What they're going to gain by all of the pain and suffering and that all these businesses are going through? It's as though that they don't want these businesses to be there. But why? I mean, is that not this heartbeat of the economy, the small to medium businesses, the local community businesses?
Yeah, I mean, it may appear frustrating and such like, which I get. Um, I suppose it's yeah.
But
Honest answer is that I don't know what to
yeah, I
say.
was talking about it is time for business. Like we said before, the situation is the situation. You have your businesses. These are the economic conditions that you have to work within. So you really need to get your teams and get your house in order the best that you can. You have to adapt to the situation and scenario, and you have to cut costs and cut labor and cut everywhere and become more resilient to survive. And I think that's a mindset that we need to um, we need to instill within ourselves and within the teams. And if we have that, then you know, at the end of the day, whilst everything is going up, you have to find ways of surviving and getting through, and hope that things change for the better in the future.
Hopefully, I think that's what as in, but you're right. We desperately um, need to make sure that um, you are more resilient. We are thinking through what are the challenges and preparing for them and everything else. But we also need that support, which leads me on to the inclusion by default and the Breaking Barriers conference yesterday. It was brilliant. We had 60 plus people there, all actively engaged. I'll tell you what I found fascinating and really interesting, aside from the vast majority who were saying, we could really do with some proper support, was there was a couple of people, including Bilal from Bentic Furniture, who sort of said, I've never had any support. I don't need any support. I've just got on and done it. And it was like brilliant to hear that, right? And
Was that yesterday?
yeah. So as part of the session, and then there was another successful Turkish business person who actually, after the session, had jumped up, and I'm sharing this publicly because it's important, right? Had jumped up and said, "We've sat here for 2 hours, and I don't understand why everyone's just not doing whatever they're doing. I've never had any support, right?" Why is everyone here complaining and whatever? It was like, right. And I was like, listen, I really welcome your view, but you clearly didn't get the agenda, because the agenda is about there are barriers, there are challenges, people don't get the support. And actually, there is a double glazing effect and impact associated with ethnic minority people. And it was brilliant because we had like sort of 20 black representative business owners, and some of them had come as a couple. In fact, one lady even brought a child, which I know all of my team were really worried about, because from an insurance perspective, we're not insured to have children in a business environment. So if anything had happened, we would have been, anyway. That's a different conversation. But yeah, it's fascinating, right? But it is a matter of fact that, broadly speaking, business is business, Jaff, and people run their businesses in the same way.
Yeah.
But there are additional challenges, aren't there?
Well, I think when you talk about when Bilal would talk about, well, I have not had any support, I would argue that that's not true, because you need it's not he may be saying that I haven't had any handouts, because no one's expecting the government to give us 50 grand and there you go, get on. There's a bit of when I'm thinking support, I'm thinking, is there an organization that's going to help us find the person in planning, help with get over the hurdles that exist in business? And you're always going to need people and organizations like ABC to be that facilitator and that network and conduit to be able to meet people that are going to help support us in all of the different challenges that we come across in business. So maybe it's what Bilal was probably saying, that of course he's had support from so many different people.
Well, of course he has. Well, even no, sorry. One thing that he did say was the organisation that supported him was ABC, right? And people like us who have helped him across a variety of, seeing them grow and such like, which they acknowledge. But he hasn't had any handouts. What was the other
Yeah, of course.
complaint? No, but the other curious complaint, Jaff, was, and forgive me because I didn't catch the individual's name, who was saying, I've grown my business and I'm turning over £1 million, and like, I didn't get any help. But one of his complaints was during COVID, he only got £37,000, whilst the barbers got £50,000. And I was like,
well,
really? Is that part of your complaint?
Well, when that's
perception thing.
when that support's out there, everyone's bloody lining up for it, aren't they? I mean, you're not going to turn around and say, well, I don't want it. Everyone was lining up wanting a piece of that cake.
Yeah, and that's what affected our economy, and it's affected our, the businesses anyway. I mean, look, we actually used some of the support that was available. We had to, but wherever we did, we repaid it tenfold. Is the thing, and it's like everything that we've done has always been to support and pay taxes and pay people and stuff. I mean, a lot of the time, I don't think people appreciate how much it costs being an employer, right? Like, not only is an employer obligated to make tax contributions, pension contributions, but also the broader, wider costs of employing people is quite significant. And it's the employer that bears that brunt.
I think when you look at, I mean, I was doing a calculation yesterday on our payroll sheet, right? If you look at the net take-home pay, and then you look at the cost to employer, there's a difference of around about 35%. So whatever an individual gets net, the cost of business is 35% more, and that's skyrocketed in the last year and a half, 2 years, and that's the burden, Ammar, that the employer has. That's the cost of business these days is absolutely horrendous because the taxation is enormous, and that is a burden in itself to be able to take that burden on as an employer, because soon as you do something, the benefit to the economy is huge, and the percentages are huge, and whatever is left with the organizations after they have to put all of this effort in and take all the risk is so minuscule, and that pie of what you're left with right at the end is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and that's the concern that all the businesses have, because when you put yourself, take all the risk, you're looking to develop particular locations and add vibrancy and create jobs and wealth, and get the local economy going, and A, B, C, and D. Then you got the spin-off of all the suppliers benefiting, and the reward is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And why would you expect entrepreneurs and business people to take those risks with very little benefit? Because they're going to figure out something else to do, because they're just going to weigh it up, and they're going to think, actually, it's not worth it anymore.
I mean, it hasn't been worth it for quite some time, Jalf, to be honest. But equally, I couldn't think of not doing what I'm doing. My wife regularly says, just get a job, as in stop. And I'm like sat there thinking, how could I? Hey, who'd give me a job? Actually, I get job offers all the time. And funnily enough, I did try a job, not last year, the year before, for a little bit. And it was a brilliant job. I loved the work I was doing. I just couldn't bring myself to like that type of environment and activity and that side of things. And plus, I've always had 3, 4 jobs, like always, since I, sort of, even when I worked in London for the civil service, I'd work at the British Council during the day. On the evening, I worked for the Canon Ionic Cinema. So even then, and it was funny because, during the day, I was like wearing suits and whatever else. On an evening, I'd be carrying the ice creams, and like, that person stood in the break. It was so funny. I mean, you sit and you think to yourself, people would go, what, you've done those type of jobs? And it's like, it's work, isn't it? Is what it is.
Yeah, well, you've come a long way.
Well, I'm still handing out ice cream, is what they are. And there used to be it was funny, Jack, in them days, the film used to stop for like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and everyone was kind of a lot more chilled and relaxed. Now it's like everything is so hectic. You
Yeah.
just you come in. Life is so fast now, Ammar, isn't it?
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy is what it is. Anyway, there's some brilliant things going on in our world. Equally, the session that we had yesterday, we're going to be feedbacking on the back of that. Is that even a word? We are traveling down to Manchester as well, Jeff, later on today, to celebrate you behind the scenes. Because behind every great man is a great man, isn't it? And then there's this session at the SME Business Club, which Stephen and the team are leading on, which is exciting. And now, without further ado, we have the brilliant, super special guest, Lisa Darwin, joining us, who's founder and CEO of Fashion Ball. Yay!
Good morning.
Hi, Lisa. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you both?
Good.
All the better for seeing you. Sorry to get you stressed and dashing and dishing and whatever it is, but
Yeah, we love
delighted.
trains in England. They're amazing.
So,
And we love
oh,
Fridays, guys, don't we?
yeah, we love every day. Every day is a school day, I think is what they say. Um, Lisa,
I know.
thank you ever so much for dialing in and joining us. Um, it's it's brilliant to hear and have you back on our show. So, just to kick off, tell us who you are, what you do, why you do it, please.
Okay. Lisa Darwin. I organise the FB Fashion Ball. Obviously in Newcastle, which we love, and in Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham. And I've also have a coaching business called Lavish Collective, which is empowering women, which I love to do. So I'm really blessed because I get to do everything that I love. And I've got, obviously, I'm a mum of three as well, mum of three children. So I'm a busy lady, but I love all of it. And I do it because I love it. And I love, like you, Ammar, making a difference to people. It's our purpose, isn't it, to kind of make a difference.
Oh, undoubtedly, and it's brilliant to hear your inspiring story. Um, One of the just, and I know we haven't got that long, but I was asked on Wednesday as I was interrogated at an event. I was asked, "Oh, so tell us your biggest success and biggest achievement," and I said, "It's my family." As in, it's like, it's you mentioning
Yes.
three kids. I think we, and all too often, people perceive us to be sort of, oh, well, I've done this thing and I've done that thing and it's done. And actually, it's for the people, isn't it? And it's for our people as well as every other person that you're doing. So well done and thank you. And we're absolutely delighted to see Fashion Ball growing from, strength to strength. Um, Tell our listeners and our viewers, Lisa, a little bit about the concept because it's distinctly different, isn't it?
It is different. And so it's bringing business, so the business community together, all sectors, leaders like yourself, young professionals, all together in one room. And the heart of FB is to make a difference and give back. And we do that by celebrating people, achievements, unsung heroes, probably, with the Northeast Business Hero Awards during the gala dinner. And my favourite part, which you know, is our live fashion show, which is in like the second half. You can feel the night getting more fun. The fashion show's coming, the music's starting. Everybody on there are people like us putting ourselves forward to walk for purpose. So everyone gets to choose their own charity that they want to raise funds for, raise awareness for. So, and it's a really fun corporate event. So, we go to so many award dinners, don't we, on black tie events. And I think that's why FB is a little bit special because it brings a different element to it, and the giving back and the fashion and the fun. We love the glamour. Newcastle guys are loving the glamour, so it's ticking lots of boxes, I think, for people, which is brilliant.
It is brilliant. There's no question about it. And it's using the power of people in a
Yes.
public and presentational way, isn't it, Lisa? Because you're getting
Yeah.
out of your comfort zone. So these aren't models, are they, on the catwalk? These are, well,
No.
they are, but actually that's not what their day job is.
Oh gosh, it's so far removed from their day job. So they are lawyers, they work in property, banks, accountants, stepping forward absolutely out of their comfort zone. Obviously, we style them, confidence coaching, the whole thing, but they're doing it, like you say, to make a difference. And we celebrate all the the diverse fashion, the cultural side of it. So we've had a cultural fashion scene in there where we're celebrating fashion from around the world, and we love that inclusive side to it. So the platforms for everyone, big companies, small companies, kind of young professional to recognize leader. That platform is to celebrate people and to give them a showcase, raise their profile.
Brilliant. No, well done. And it's happening next Thursday. There's still a little bit of seats remaining. So I would be encouraging everyone to get involved, come along and support. We're delighted to be supporting and
Thank you.
promoting you. I think it's brilliant what you do, Lisa, and what Fashion Ball stands for, and also the charitable element. So why is that important?
I think for me, we love to glam up, we love to have great fun and everything. If we can do that, but we can give back at the same time, because, we have privileged lives, we've got great jobs, a lot of us, we live great lives, and it costs nothing to just make a difference, give back if you can. And I've always said, if you can, you should. And to be fair, I think it makes us happier to give back than just keep receiving. Yeah, I think it's a purpose thing to do, and why not? Why wouldn't we do it? It's a wasted opportunity if we don't do it.
I think Jaff would be a great model. He's a good-looking guy, isn't he?
So are we going to make it happen? Why
maybe
can't we
20
have
years,
both of you
maybe
on there?
20 years ago.
20 years ago. No, I think Jaff is, I mean, you know Jaff, right? He's one of the most successful
Yeah.
restaurateurs, breaking down lots of sort of barriers and opportunity and things like that. And he's done such a brilliant job um,
Yeah.
of sort of, within his sector. I think he should get out of his comfort zone. He also gives a lot, and it's not something that is publicly acknowledged, or he does so for public acknowledgement. A bit like you, Lisa.
Oh,
I know you do a lot
yeah.
and you're very public, but actually you give so much as well, don't you?
Yeah, and I think if you've got a heart like that, it's a great thing. Listen, you can start off small, be a hand model, a foot model even.
Brilliant. Yeah,
No, but we work with them.
he goes to the pedicure and the manicures. He's got like lovely, very well groomed is our Jaff, is
Yeah.
what he is. And actually, no, I think he's got a beautiful face. I've got a face for radio. He's got one for the catwalk.
I am not, guys, I am so not buying this excuse. You have not got a face for radio. You're both handsome and you both need to be strutting your stuff next Thursday, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Jaff will be there.
I'm
Yeah. Anyway, I'll put your hand up before you put mine up. Just don't be sort of doing that type of thing. Lisa, what does success look like? What does this sort of do for people, community, businesses? Why should they get involved?
They should get involved because networking, connection, our lives are all about relationship. FB is a great place to make friends, get your business out there, promote yourself whilst you're giving back. Obviously, we work with amazing brands as well. So it is actually just a fun, huge celebration of everything that's amazing for Newcastle. So it's a great night. It's a fun night.
It is. And that's what life should be about, right? And that's what I was saying to Kath earlier on, is the world, generally people might think it's not that fun, but when you've got FB, sort of going on, Fashion Ball, and, you in Newcastle bringing something so incredibly special and connecting all of that, there's a real opportunity and positivity there as well. So how do people find out, Lisa? How do they get their tickets? How do they sign up?
They can go to the website, which is obviously www.fbfashionball.show, or they can email me as well, lisa@fbfashionball.show, or they can start stalking you, Ammar, and see if they want to get there. Can I just say as well, a heartfelt thank you that I really love your heart to support people. And you didn't know me that long ago, and your support and enthusiasm is what makes this country great, really. People like you, and giving someone like me the opportunity to connect with your community is so special. And we have the best life when we collaborate and we create partnerships. It's the way forward, I think.
That's incredibly kind, and I'm humbled by that, Lisa. But that actually is more of a reflection on you and the wonderful things that you do, and how beautiful of a person you are, both in and outside, and the change that you're making through something like this. It is about confidence. It is about people getting out of their comfort zones, but it's
Yeah.
done so in a fun way. It's done so in a collaborative and community way. I think it's brilliant what you do. And I would encourage everybody to get involved, get the tickets, come and check it out. And then if they love what they see, then get on the stage next year, right?
Totally. Everyone's welcome. There isn't anyone excluded. Everyone is welcome. That's for sure.
I'm gonna get some of the team signed up. Anyway, well, wonderful. Thank you ever so much for joining us. I appreciate
You're
that.
so welcome. No, thank you so much.
And we'll see you next week. We'll get
See you on
you
Thursday.
I'll see you on the catwalk
Yeah, well, I'm sure
next
there's a
week.
song there. I'm sure there's a song. Thanks, Lisa. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Love you. Bye bye.
There you have it, Jeff. Lisa Darwin making the magic happen.
Yeah, very cool. It was a very cool event that they did last year. It's amazing.
And that's happening next Thursday. So please get your tickets and get involved. It is a brilliant evening. We all need a little bit of fun and celebration and support for each other. It's coming up to the end of the show. We'll be back next week. It's the last game of the season at home, Jeff.
Yeah, it is, and underwhelming season, but it is what it is. We're still going to support the club and support the players. Give them.
We do. We'll be there, and until next week, where we've got another special show where we'll give you an update on runway rooms and inclusion by default, lots of other things. It's a sort of goodbye from me. I think we've got, I don't know how many seconds we've got left. 45 seconds. Not that I'm counting. And then good luck to Jaff and everyone tonight at the Signature Awards. I think he's brilliant. And best of wishes to everybody else who's been shown.
On the hour, every hour, from the heart.